Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about our next topic, that is user authentication. So basically, the user authentication is used for the security for building a block, and it also have the control of accessing of the users and also the accountability. So it is the process of verifying the identity of the each person that is claimed or for by a system entity. So whenever the two users are being communicated, so before communicating, the users are being authenticated, and also depending upon, so if at all we take an example of accessing any bank, then we are going to have the uh, access control of taking the information from the bank but not the editing of any information into it. So similarly, it also maintains depending upon the user accountability. So whether it is the person who is maintaining or depending upon the person identity, the access controls are being maintained. Generally, there are two steps. One is the identification and the other one is the verification. So identification will verify about the specify the identifier, and also verification is nothing but binding the entity of our or a person, that is identifier. So it can be distinct from the message authentication. So what is meant by a user authentication? So there are four meanings of authentication for a user's identity. So based upon something, the individual know whether the password or PIN, or he may possess a key, token or a smart card, or it may be the fingerprint or retina, or does may be voice or sign. So if at all you are taking any user authentication based upon the different users, we are going to, for example, if you are going to go for any ATM, then we are going to we are going to give the PIN or password to verify our card, and we are going to draw an amount. Similarly, you can use the token or a smart cards to get the a purchasing of any of the products from the offline, or it can be the biometrics where you are going to test your fingerprint or a retina, where the accessing of the users may be done, or it may be the voice recognition or signing in where you are going to have, for example, you can take the mobile phone where you can keep the voice or sign, or you can take a fingerprint, so you have a biometric. So it can be used by only that person, or they may sometimes be a combined one depending upon the authentication provided. So all can provide the user authentication, and every all that have the certain issues. So coming to the authentication protocols. So to convince the parties with the each other identity, you need to exchange the session keys. So we have already discussed related to the sessions keys in the previous topic. So it may be of one way or it may be of mutual. So what are the key issues are? The key issues are the confidentiality and also the timeliness. So in confidentiality, you need to protect the session keys, and in timeliness, you need to prevent from the replay attack. What is replay attack? A replay attack is nothing but a person, the third party or the third person acts as the original entity by doing certain process, that is gathering the information from both the communication and acting as, that is avoiding the other party to communicate, and sending the information from this node becomes the original entity. So intimating or that is nothing but he will be acting as an original entity. So coming to the replay attack, so where a valid signed message is copied and later it is resent. So it can be a simple replay or repetition that can be locked or repetition that cannot be detected or backward replay without modification. So every time you can have these types of attacks. So what can be the countermeasures we can take? So we can take the use of the sequence numbers, or you may apply the timestamps for the message that we are sending, or the challenges or the responses, that is applying the nonce values. So this is also been already discussed in the previous topics. So how we apply the nonce and all these things. Then coming to the one-way authentication. In one-way authentication, the sender and the receivers are not in communication at the same time. For example is email. So you should have header in a clear so that we can deliver to that particular email system. So generally when you take one-way authentication, you are going to have an email header and also the body. So in email header, you are going to provide certain ways where you are going to type the what are the contents, what is the content type, and all these things are being noted down in the header. And once you are going to send this particular header, this is being authenticated by the other party, and the body contains the information that you want to send. So it may want contents of the body protected and the senders authenticated. So this can be of using the symmetric encryption. So as we have discussed in the previously, we have two levels of hierarchies of keys. One is the KDC, that is Trusted Key Distribution Center, where each party shares the master key with the KDC and generates a session key. Like I said, we already have two types of keys. One is the master key, another one is the session keys. So the master keys we will be having with the own KDC, and session keys are being provided between the parties. And this master key is used to distribute to them. So one of the protocol that is most familiar is Needham-Scotter. So this is the original third party key distribution protocol for session between A, B mediated by KDC. So how the protocol is, we'll see the overview of it. So suppose A want to communicate with B, so A will request for the KDC. Now in that particular, that is when the A will send any request to KDC, it will contain the ID of A, ID of B and also the nonce value. Now KDC in return to A, it will encrypt the value for key of A and also the session keys with the identity of B, nonce value, and also it provides the key. A key of B which is being encrypted and with the keys case IDA. So these shared key or session keys that are being provided between the two parties, that is being given. Now A has to authenticate to the B, that is he is the original entity that want to communicate. So A will send a request to B. Well, it will send using the encrypted format of whatever the data that is being sent by the KDC. And once B gets the entity gets the identification, in return it sends that particular session keys with the nonce to value, and in the return A will also communicate for the function of, that is he will also send whatever the acknowledgement that is being got, that is whatever the information that is being got, he will acknowledge it so that the communications are being established. So it is used, that a Needham-Scotter protocol is used to securely distribute a new session key for communication between A and B, but it is vulnerable to the replay attack. If an old session key has been compromised, so then the message 3 can be resent convincing the B that communication with the A. So the modification in the address has to be required. So the timestamp in step 2 and 3, that is in the Denning 80, that is Denning has been proposed and other where it can get compromised. So adding the timestamps in the step 2 and step 3 is done in the 1981, and also the nonce was given by the, that is nonce has to be added by the Newman. So this was the additions which was in the further versions you can see. So in refinement of the KDC of secure email, we have dropped the step 4 and 5 in 3 steps only. That is in the protocol we have only 3 steps, that is step 1, step 2 and 3. And the third step, it provides the encryption and some authentication, and it does not provide the replay attack. So next, coming to the Kerberos. So it is the trusted key server system from MIT, and it provides a centralized private key third party authentication in distributed network. It allows user to access services distributed through network without needing to the trusting all the workstation, rather than all central authentication server. So it is an authentication server where it will provide the acts as a trusted third party for the distribution of the keys, and it need not trust all the workstations. So in that we have the version 2, 3, then 4 and 5 also came into use. Now what are the requirements in the Kerberos are? It is reported to be having the requirements as secure, reliable, transparent and also scalable. So the implementing using the authentication protocol, that is using the Needham's Coder, the Kerberos version 4 overview we are going to see. So it is basically a trusted third party authentication scheme. It has a authentication server, usually negotiated with the authentication server to identify the self one. And once you are identifying yourself, the authentication server provides a non-corruptible authentication credentials. So what is that credential? That is, it will provide a ticket. So that ticket we are going to say as a ticket granting ticket, that is TGT. So this authentication server will provide an identity. That is, he is the person who is having the authentication, that is nothing but a ticket. Now once the ticket has been given, the ticket will be having a granting server. So users subsequently request for the access to the other services from TGS on basis of users TGT. So using a complex protocol using DES. So in Kerberos version 4 dialog box, so you can see here, that is whenever you are see that is a particular person is requesting for the authentication server. So in this particular authentication server, it will provide the identity of the user identity, that is C, and the TGS, that is ticket granting. It also provides to the authentication for the ticket granting server and also the timestamp value. So once this is being given for the authentication server will provide encrypted, with the encryption it will provide the key for the C, and also with the TGS it will provide the identity, timestamp to lifetime, for the validation of that particular ticket, and also the ticket from the TGS. Now what is the TGS? That is ticket granting server of ticket will contain, it will contain the key for the ticket granting server. It also provides the key for the TGS, identity of C, then it will provide the ADC, and also it will provide the ID for TGS, then timestamp 2 and lifetime 2. Like this, it will provide the authentication will exchange the ticket granting ticket to that particular C entity. Now C entity has to communicate with the ticket granting server. Now ticket granting server, when it is sending a request, it has to provide to which particular party it want to communicate. So it has to provide the identity of that particular entity, and also it has to provide that particular ticket and the authenticator of that particular C. Now once the TGS got the information, now it has to provide the communication for, that is the shared key or the session keys for the communicating. So it will provide the identity keys for the C to V, the identity for V, and also timestamp for that particular ticket. So every particular ticket granting server will contain each ticket will contain the lifetime also for that particular validation of that particular ticket. So once all this information is being done, it will give this particular ticket to V. Now we will see that particular ticket and it will mutually get authentication by providing its ticket, that is times which will provide its ticket, and mutually both will get into the communication. So like this the communication will be established. So you can see here, that is in the first, user will log on to the workstation request service on host. Then it will provide the request to the ticket granting ticket to the authentication server. In that it will provide ticket press session key, and once that is done, it will also provide the services to the ticket granting service. So once the request is being given, it will provide another session key. So it is only for once for the type of services that is being given. So it will verify the user to the database, that is accessing rights are given by setting the and it will provide the tickets, that is session keys. So once the session keys are being taken, then it promotes for the user password to decrypt and incoming for the message, then sends the tickets and authenticator that contains the username, network address and time for TGS. Once it is been done, the TGS will decrypt the ticket, authenticator and verify the request and creates the ticket for the requested server. So once the ticket is been given, it will verify, that is it will send it to the request for the server. Now server will verify that particular ticket and authenticator match and grant the access for the services. In return, it will give an authenticator. So like this, the total processing will be done using this particular Kerberos. So in the Kerberos environment, it contains of Kerberos server, number of clients all registered with the servers, and it will contain the application servers sharing keys with the server. So it is typically a single administrative domain. In the multiple realms, the Kerberos server may share key and also the trusted third. So in the shared realms, you can see in the realm 1 and realm 2, we are going to send, it will share the keys, the session keys. So here we are going to have a local key and also the remote. So two types of will be given. So in the, it will request for local TGS, and once the session key is being got, then it will also grant for TGS, it will get. Then similarly, it will also ask for the remote really TGS. The same session keys can be taken. Then it will provide the services from the server. So in the version 5 was developed in mid 1990s, and it was the internet standard RFC 1510, and it provides the improvement over the version 4 and addresses the environmental shortcomings, that is encrypting algorithm, network protocol, byte order, ticket lifetime, authentication forwarding, inter-realm authentication, and it also have a technical deficiency, that is double encryption, Non-standard mode of use, session key use, password attacks. Now in the Kerberos 5 version, you can observe that we are using the each relic, that is C will give the authentication server and it will provide its identity and also the relief, whether it is a local one or a remote one. Then it also gives the timestamp with the nonce value. Then once the relief has got, it will provide the ticket or session key to that. Now it will request for the TGS. Now TGS in return has to give the ticket for the session key of for the granting of from the server. Now once the processing is being done, now the C can go for the services that are being provided by the server. It will accept and return the whatever the services that is being required by the C. So like this the total processing is being done. So you can observe the tickets that is being taken. So coming to the remote user authentication. So in public key encryption, the session key distribution. So assume both parties have the other public keys. So in the denying protocol, the timestamp uses only the central authentication server to provide the public key certifications, requires the synchronized clocks. So we have WLAN protocol using the nonce. So care needed to ensure no protocol faults is there. So coming to the one-way authentication, it have a public key approaches for email, that is encrypting of the message from confidentiality and authentication or both. Or now the public keys have a long message. So for confidentiality of encrypting message with one-time secret key or a public key encrypted. For authentication use the digital signatures.